Perfect. Yeah, so again, I'm more visual person, so I'm just gonna go through presentation to help us move things along. So hello, my name is Elli Dastrup. I'm a new employee here at Eastern Maine Development Corporation, and I'll get into that and just kind of my story in a minute. But just a brief overview of what I want to do today. I want to do a quick introduction so I can meet all of you, and then I'll tell you all my story, and then I have a quick activity for us to do together that I'm pretty excited about. So for introductions, I just have 3 little icebreaker questions that I want all of us to go through. I know you all know each other, but I don't. I'm sorry. So the first is telling us all your name and your age. The second is your favorite hobby or activity that you like to do in your free time. And then the third is tell us something that you couldn't live without. So I'll go first so you all can think of your answers. My name is Ellie. I'm 24 years old. My favorite hobby is probably playing Ultimate Frisbee or video games. I like Stardew Valley and Smash Ultimate the best. Something that I couldn't live without. I think there are a lot of things that I'd have a hard time living without, but today I was thinking, and I think my number 1 is probably a hair tie because I like to pull my hair out of my face a lot. Yeah, just a kind of silly answer. Should I call on people to answer, or do you all want to go around? Okay, I can call. Yeah, okay. Mark, do you want to go first? Just because.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. My name is Mark. I am something like 54, maybe. I can't remember exactly how old I am. I was born in 68. My favorite hobby is actually reading and also hiking through the woods. And because we cut trails and stuff, we live in a lot of woods up here. So I love hiking through the woods, but I also love reading. I guess the best of both worlds will be having a book on an audio book while I'm clearing trails or out with my dogs. Something that I couldn't live without, my family. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Thanks, Mark. Next, can we hear from Barbara?
Hi, I'm Barbara Skinner. I am 64 years old, but no one just heard that. My hobbies are, I love doing crafting, and in the summertime, I'm out in my kayak as much as I possibly can be. Something I could not live without is my family, my grandkids, and my fur babies. Yeah, couldn't live without my fur babies.
Thanks, Barbara. What kind of animals do you have?
I have 5 cats,
Wow.
2 dogs, and 1 fish.
I think that's awesome. And yeah, I guess I didn't realize what age is the cutoff where you shouldn't ask people how old they are. Because I feel like it's a normal question to ask young folks.
I was going to say, today I'm a day older than I was yesterday.
Oh, that's a good answer. Thank you so much. Okay, Adam, can we hear from you?
Hello, am I able to be heard? Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, so name and age. The name's Adam Wheeler, Adam Michael Wheeler, and I'm 19. About to turn 20 next month. Things I like to do. I listen to music and watch anime. I do like video games as well. Smash Ultimate's pretty good. I don't play it nearly as much as I used to when it first came out, but I do like kayaking as well. Yes, I do go outside sometimes. And something I can't live without. Food and water. I mean, those are basically the basic human things. So,
thanks, Adam. Yeah, very practical answer. I like that one. Gabe, can we hear from you?
Yeah, I'm Gabriel Heseltine. My favorite hobbies are art and video games. Very similar games as already have been said. So PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch stuff. Then something I can't live without. I really don't have a other answer for this, and I was just gonna say food, but Adam said his thing. But yeah, food.
Nice.
Hey, Gabe, show one of your little things that you've made.
All right, give me a sec. This is a robot. This
Whoa.
is a mask, and then I have one other one right here. So yeah, I make quite a few things.
Dang, that's way cool. And what did you make them out of?
3D filament and a 3D pen, and then paint and other stuff like foam.
Dang, that's really cool. That's really awesome. Okay. Is your name Wyatt? Hopefully.
Yes, that is correct. That is how you say it. Wyeth. My name is Wyeth. I am 4 squared years old. My favorite hobby is video games. My favorites are Terraria, Hollow Knight, and Magicka 2. And I couldn't live without sleeping.
Nice. Yeah, wow, you all are very practical people. I like it. Becky?
Hi, I'm Becky Nelson. I'm 18, and my favorite hobby is fishing. And I enjoy going to events with Barb for work. And then something I couldn't live without, probably my animals. I have lots of them.
Nice. What can you tell us your animals, or are there too many to share?
Oh no, there's not too many. Well, there is too many, but I have 2 rabbits. I have 6 cats. Yeah, that's what Barb says too. I have a pit bull. I'm trying to make, 6 cats, a pit bull, and 2 rabbits.
Wow, that's intense. And do you have, okay, I'm trying to get into fishing here. Do you have a favorite fishing spot?
So recently I found one. I go to Second Davis, but we go night fishing. So lately we had really good bites the other night, and we caught catfish, and it's usually quiet there. So I do like it there, but I also like Harlow Pond.
Nice.
I like Howler Pond because you can bug me because right down the road. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Becky. Oh, I lost my place. Okay, I think Elizabeth.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Florian, and I'm 18. A couple of my hobbies are drawing and art and spending time with my family. And something that I couldn't live without would probably be sleep and also my fur babies.
What animals do you have?
I have a bearded dragon and 2 cats.
Oh, cute. I love bearded dragons. Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. And then Lexi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so my name is Alexis Rockwell. Y'all didn't hear my first name. That's irrelevant. Anyways, I'm 18 years old. I like photography and video games. Something I couldn't live without is probably my phone because I take pictures of everything. And I don't know what else was asked, so I think that was it.
I think that was it. What do you like to take pictures of? Or I guess, do you post your pictures anywhere? Or just
I
keep them?
do. I've used to. I haven't in a while. I take a lot of landscape pictures, and like if I hang out with friends, I take pictures of them. I just like photography. So
Fun. Awesome. Thanks, Lexi. Okay, I think I got everyone. Right? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I'm gonna move on. Feel free to unmute yourselves and speak up anytime. It's not, I have a presentation, but it's not anything formal. So okay, who am I? Like I said, my name's Ellie. I'm just gonna give you like a brief overview of my life. Feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions. I can't see everyone while I'm presenting, so really just speak up. I'm from Chicago. I moved around a lot growing up, but most of my time was spent in Chicago. I call that home. I love it there. And then I graduated high school in 2016, and I went to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And I didn't know what to study, but I've had big dreams of being the first female director of the FBI since I was little. So I went into it studying Arabic language. And then I quickly found out that you can't just major in Arabic language. You have to major in something else as well. So I kind of had a moment where I didn't know what I was interested in at all. I just kind of had like an end goal of what I wanted to be. So I printed out all the majors that were offered at my school, and I went through them line by line over the course of like 2 weeks, and basically crossed out everyone that I wasn't interested in and ended up with urban planning as my final result. I had no idea what urban planning was, never heard of it before. But I ended up doing a double major in urban planning, and I loved it. I fell in love with it pretty quickly. And I guess the lesson from that is that you don't always have to know what you're interested in or what you like. Sometimes you can just figure it out as you go. So yeah, I majored in urban planning. I graduated from undergrad in May of 2020, so right after the COVID pandemic hit. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life because I couldn't get a job, but I decided to go to graduate school at the University of Illinois to get a master's in urban planning, which ended up being a good choice, even though it was pretty repetitive for my undergraduate degree. It was a good opportunity to learn and get a degree when my plans were kind of pulled out from under me because there was major economic downturn and I couldn't find a job because of the pandemic. So for the past 2 years, I've been getting my master's degree, and I just graduated May of 2022. And then I moved here to Bangor after never being in Maine before to be a planner here at Eastern Maine Development Corporation. I started, I think, a month ago, maybe like 5 weeks ago. And I absolutely love it. I love Maine. I love Eastern Maine Development Corporation, and I love the work that I'm doing. Oh, also I'm a dog mom. I have a mini Aussie Doodle, and I'm obsessed with him. So thought I'd put that on there. But that's the only fur baby I have. I kind of wish I had more. Does anyone have any questions about my life story? I know that was kind of brief. No? Okay. Feel free to ask any. Okay. So now I just kind of want to tell you what a planner does at EMDC. Planner is a pretty broad job description. Some people ask me like if I'm a wedding planner or something, but so that's crazy. But then even among urban and regional planners, there's a lot of jobs. But here at Eastern Maine Development Corporation, I do a lot of facilitation where I help communities have meetings, either like internal meetings or with other communities, and I do kind of facilitate communication between other communities or with the public, between like community political leaders and the public, to make decisions and help make these plans that will move the community forward. And then I also help communities complete comprehensive plans. Sometimes they're called general plans, but every municipality, which is a city or a town or whatever you want to call it, they need these comprehensive plans in order to access funds from the state. So if they want to, put in a new park and they need funding, if they want to apply for that funding from the state, then they have to have a comprehensive plan that's been approved by the state. And so I help them write those plans. And then I also help communities complete economic development plans, which are similar, but focus on economic development instead of just broad, what the community wants to do. So these look like anything from, in the future, this is where we want a park to go. We want like public transportation, or we want more bike lanes, to how are we going to bring businesses here? How are we going to help people start businesses? How are we going to help people find jobs? Things like that. Does anybody have any questions about what a planner does? Or anything more about the job in general? Did anybody know what a planner was before this? No. Okay. Do you feel like you have a kind of idea of what a planner does now? Like an urban planner?
I think so, a little bit now.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, it's just kind of a broad job. So I did a brief overview, but feel free to ask any more questions. Okay. So now I'm going to go quickly through some advice from my life. It's hard to boil it down into just 3, but the first one is probably being able, like, recognizing when you need to do hard work and when hard work is useful and how it's useful. And I think that comes into play like once you know what you want to do and being willing to work hard to reach your goals. It's hard to work hard. So I think just like kind of recognizing the instances when you're able to work hard and then like where you thrive will help you know how to work hard in the future. And then the second is establishing personal habits early on that energize you and boost your satisfaction. Again, life is hard. It's hard to wake up every day and go to work and be passionate about the things you're doing. And what I've found most useful is setting these personal habits, not things like, oh, get to work on time and do this and this. I'm like talking more personal, like, I don't know, I'm usually energized by like writing in a journal. I usually write in my journal every night, or I like cooking. And so usually I try to cook myself like at home in the kitchen, at least 1 meal a day. And that energizes me and that satisfies me. So finding those things early on in your life will help you be more satisfied in all areas of your life, I think. And they don't have to be, I don't know, I think when you go online, you see a lot of people saying, oh, like, make your bed every morning and you'll be happy. I think some people that does make them happy, but if it doesn't make you happy, then find another personal habit, So yeah, find what works for you. And then the third one is recognize that plans may shift and change, and you can still be successful and find happiness when that happens. I think the most recent example of this in my life is when COVID-19 came, and I think it kind of screwed up everybody's lives. So I know everybody's had this experience too, but just graduating from college and not being able to get a job and not really knowing what to do was scary. And looking back, because that was one of like the hardest times, looking back, I'm able to say now, even if like something outside of your power throws a wrench in your plans, you can still find success and you can still be happy. Even if it's in a different way than you had previously thought. And it might take a lot of time, but it will happen. Yeah, so that's just some brief advice from my life. Okay, so the things, sorry, Mark, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I had a question for you, because the first thing you said is about being ready to work hard and then deciding that. Can you talk for a second about how you determined what was worth working hard for? And it can even be specific. It doesn't have to be general, applied to everybody, but just let us know what the process was and what were you picking that was worth working hard for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Me personally, I get really energized by certain goals at different points in my life, and I go from one goal to another really quickly. but once I decide on a goal, I like will work my butt off to achieve that. And so I think I already set the example of me wanting to be the first female director of the FBI. I think that was my goal in life for the longest period of time. I think from age like 11 to age 20 almost. That was my goal. And I knew it'd take, 40 years to get there. But everything I did it with that in mind. And so, I mean, not that it was super hard, but I remember in high school being like, oh, like I can't break a single law because I'll have to answer these, questions when I want to go to the FBI. So even things like my friends would be like, oh, like, let's download music from the internet or like download movies from the internet. And I was like, no, I will not do that. Because I know when you do like an FBI interview, they would ask you those questions. Have you ever done that? And it was just, I mean, that's just kind of a silly example, but I think you kind of realize it, like recognize when you feel energized to achieve a goal, and knowing how to do that and how to work hard just comes kind of naturally. I think the really hard part of number one is identifying that goal that energizes you, for sure.
Very cool. And then to throw one more curveball at you, because a lot of things you've said is recognize that plans may shift. How are you deciding when to change your goal or when to leave one goal and go to another? Let's say if your plans have changed or shifted, what's that process for you?
It's a good question. That's a hard one, Mark. Yeah, so I think it's been different my whole life. But almost doing sort of like just a cost benefit analysis all the time, which is hard, which is basically weighing, like what's the benefit that I'm getting out of this and what are the costs and the negative impact that I'm getting from something, and weighing that constantly is draining. But my mind runs a million miles an hour, so for me it's normal. But I think just checking back in on a regular basis with the goals that you have and making sure that one, they're things that you're still interested in and worth, is the satisfaction of doing something worth the benefit, worth the cost that you're getting from doing it, and then checking in that it makes sense for you. So, even though I may, being the first female director of the FBI, that was awesome. And I still would like to do that, but it doesn't really make sense for me to try to achieve that goal currently. But yeah, I don't know. Becky, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so I just got my first like serious job actually at Eastern Maine Development Corporation too. And COVID like flipped everything for me with school. So I enrolled in adult education. And then whenever I got my job, I struggle with like having things on my to-do list to still do. And sometimes you can't do everything. So with you being a planner, how do you manage the workload that you have, but still give yourself breaks and self-care time?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's also hard for me too, coming from being in school my entire life for the past 24 years of my life, where it is like full-time. It doesn't, even if you're not in school, you go home and you're still working. So I think it's hard to make that shift. But for me, I'm like a spatial person. So I try to dedicate certain spaces to work. And when I'm in those spaces, my mind, I'm like, okay, you can think about your to-do list and think about the things you need to do. And then when you're elsewhere, you just can't think about it. And I don't follow this rule all the time because I think about work constantly, but it's a good practice for me. So, when I'm in the office, it's obviously a workspace. And then sometimes when I'm at home, and it changes, but like sometimes if I'm working from home that day, I'll say, okay, like today my workspace is a kitchen counter or something, and I'll sit at the kitchen counter. And then if I want to stop thinking about it, then I'll leave and go sit somewhere else. But yeah, I try not to do work like in my bed or like a space in my house that I like, I try not to do work there because then it does get very complicated. But I will say, like, if your personal life is unbalanced and you're not getting like this number 2, if you don't have those personal habits that are boosting your satisfaction and energizing you, I think it's nearly impossible to get your work done, even if you love your job. So I recommend number 2 is very important, at least for me.
Thank you.
Of course. Also, congrats on your first adult job.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So the next little tidbit of information that I have is, which honestly is the biggest piece of advice, is this relationship between skills and interests. So first you need to determine what skills you have and build on those, and then second you need to identify what interests you like in your life and follow those interests. And there's no particular order, but those are very interconnected, and you might not always see the relationships, and you might not ever be able to put a finger on what really interests you and what skills you actually have. But if you're willing to do some introspection, I think identifying your skills and your interests can really help guide what you want to do in your life. So I have a little activity to try to identify some of our skills and interests. And I will just say, like, for as hardworking and as smart as I think I am, I have the hardest time identifying, like, putting a name on my skills and interests. I can't do it. And for the people in my life who have pointed out my skills and interests, like, I thank them so much, because I think knowing these is key to success, and key to being happy in what you're doing. Like, for example, I don't know why I like planning. I can never put a finger on it. Until my last semester in my master's degree, I was working on a group project with someone, and I made this presentation. We were doing a huge class project, like 30 people were working on this project. And long story short, nobody was getting anything done because there was just so much information all just floating up in space. And so I just sat down and made the presentation for the whole class, and it was easy for me. And I sent it to the teacher, and then my friend messaged me, and she's an older grad student, so she's maybe 40, so way more experience than me. But she said, like, this is amazing. You just made something out of nothing. And I realized that that's why I like planning, is because I have this skill of being able to take a bunch of everything and put it into something and make something out of it. And that's why I like it. And I never knew it until my last semester of my master's degree. So, but now I can put a finger on, why I like planning and why I'm good at it is because I have this skill that I've built through school and through working. But anyways, so I have these questions that we can go through together. Have any of you used Google Jamboard before? No? No? Okay. Well, we can decide together, but either we can just answer these questions out loud together, or there's a, sorry, one second. Basically, Google Jamboard is just a virtual whiteboard that we can all like pin notes onto. So I'll show it, and you can decide if you all want to just speak out loud or if you want to. So basically what would happen is this is the first question, and I would send you the link so you can all have it on your computers, and then you would just write on a sticky note, brushing my teeth, whatever. Okay. So what do you all think?
That might actually take a little more time to set up than we have left.
Okay, perfect. Then we can just go through the questions out loud. That's fine. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Let me share my screen again so we can look at them together. Okay. Yeah, so the first question, what do you look forward to doing? What things come easy to you? What things you put off doing or like can't get yourself to do? Who is someone you look up to and why? And what are some of your favorite personality traits that you have? And I know there's a lot of questions, but if we could all just take a minute to think, and then you can just unmute yourself and you can answer any of them. We don't have to go in an order because I know we only have 7 minutes. But if you feel particularly drawn to one question, just go ahead and unmute yourself and you can answer it.
Personally, I put off doing housework. It's like the least favorite thing in the world. I will do anything to not have to do it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have to do it because it won't get done.
Okay, housework's a good one. I'm the opposite. I like if there's something I don't want to do, housework's the first thing I do because it makes me feel accomplished.
So my answer kind of goes to 2 questions about what things come easy to you. Talking to people. I found that out in my job. Talking to people comes really easy to me, especially with people that I don't know, because I don't have like a care about what they really like. I care about what they think, but I don't have a preconceived idea of what they're going to think of me because I don't know them. So that comes easy to me. And then that's one of my favorite personality traits is that I'm talkative. I'm very social with people. And I'm passionate about things. And sometimes that bites me in the butt, but when it's good, it's great. So that's my favorite thing about me.
Thanks, Becky.
For something that we're looking forward to, it could be like just anything, right? Just something that we have planned.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to a concert in September, and I'm looking forward to that.
What are you most excited for the concert?
It's my first concert that I've ever been to, so
Who is it?
the band is called Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
You're going in Portland?
Yeah.
I'm going to that concert.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah. Dang, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like that translates to your life in general? Like, do you look forward and like doing new things?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Thanks, Elizabeth.
For the one of who you look up to and why, I know most people look up to like a celebrity or like an adult, but I look up to 2 of my friends. My friend, they're friends online, but my friend Layla and my friend Cam, I look up to them because I have a hard time with worrying about people judging me, and they really don't care like how people feel about them, and like they're very confident in everything that they do, and like I want to be that way. So yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I love looking up to like friends and people around me who just have these personality traits that I wish I had. But the cool thing is that you're friends with them, so you could totally learn from them. Awesome. Anyone else? Oh, Wyeth.
I often put off socializing. Believe it or not, like with all my friends, I only have like I think one social interaction per month with like a random friend. And the reason for that is I'm just super introverted. Like I don't social much, you know? And one of my favorite personality traits is that I'm pretty reserved and calm. And I know where my comfort zone is pretty easily.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would say I'm more extroverted than introverted. And something that I love about introverts is how like thoughtful you are and like how you're okay being with yourself, because that is something that I admire and I think makes you such a strong individual. And it's something that I struggle with. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
My favorite personality traits are I'm creative and determined.
Those are good ones. Yeah, I wish I was more creative. That's a really, really cool trait. Anyone else?
I could go again.
My favorite personality trait is how, and I say it to my customers all the time, I'm going to be your best cheerleader. I like to cheer people on. I like to help them better themselves. And I've always been that way since I was a kid. And it comes easy to me. Comes very easy to me to tell someone their good qualities and how they can make them work for themselves. I can't remember a time I wasn't able to do that.
Ellie, I have a question for you. You said that you're an extrovert. So whenever you like socialize with people, like me and Barb were talking about this because I didn't actually know the definition of like what an introvert and an extrovert was. So me and her were talking about how an extrovert gets energized by like socializing with people. And I do that a lot in my job, but it like drains me. Like me and Barb talk about it when we get back to the office. We're exhausted after that. I love being home and being by myself. So for me, it's really difficult to manage both of those. How do you, on the other hand, manage like you said, having that time where you're by yourself and you're not socializing with those people? What do you do to be okay with that?
Well, I find it terrifying to be by myself. But usually I find ways to cope with it. So like if I can keep myself busy by like doing work, or if I can listen to a podcast, even if I'm not listening, sometimes I'll just turn it on so that it feels like I'm around people. Then it's helpful. And as far as dealing with like being drained at work or like dealing with people, I experience that sometimes too. I wouldn't say I'm 100% extroverted. So I feel where you're coming from, and that is hard to deal with. But yeah, finding like, even if you're able to slip away for like 5 minutes to recharge your like battery, I found that very helpful. Just like take away all distractions. But no. Okay, I think somebody, before Barbara started talking, somebody said I can go again.
It was Elizabeth.
Said that.
Oh, Elizabeth, do you want to go and then we'll wrap up with you?
Yeah, sure. I guess one of my personality traits that I have is that I'm a good listener. I feel like I'm really good at listening. If somebody comes to me with a problem, I may not always have the solution, but I can always listen and try to help someone talk it out.
That's a really good trait.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. I like this list of questions because I think it helps us all be a little bit more introspective about and try to identify those skills and interests that we have. And even if you like can go through these questions with a friend, it can be very useful. And I think your answers will probably change even like week to week, month to month. So I encourage you to go through questions like these, ask yourself questions like these to determine your skills and interests, to help you decide, what your future goals are, what you want to do in life, and what will be like most fulfilling to you, because that's super important to encourage yourself to work hard. But yeah, thank you all for letting me come. It's super fun to meet you all. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and if you ever have any questions or even just want to talk, because I love talking, feel free to email me anytime. Thank you, Mark, for having me.
Thank you, Ellie, for coming. And does anybody have any questions at the moment? Anything you think of? Well, I appreciate it very much. It gets an excellent perspective, especially from a person who's right where we all are. Well, where you guys are, and to let you know that, the real world is out there. Maybe not as scary as we thought. There are ways to gain what you want. So thank you so much, Ellie, for coming in. Appreciate it. I'm going to press stop on record.